Illegal stopping, standing, and parking are prohibited in parking. We must first take into account all the many methods a driver can stop their vehicle in order to comprehend parking regulations and restrictions. These three types of halting are frequently distinguished in the traffic laws. 1. Stopping is the temporary use of the brakes by a motorist to bring their car to a complete stop. Drivers may have to stop in order to avoid a danger or to adhere to a traffic control device's instructions. 2. When a driver stops their car but keeps the engine running and stays in the driver's seat, they are standing. 3. When a motorist parks, they stop, turn off their engine, and get out of the vehicle. It's crucial to comprehend how these behaviors differ from one another. In many places where parking or standing is prohibited, stopping is allowed. Similarly, when parking is forbidden, standing may be allowed, for purposes of loading or unloading. Always be aware of regulation road signs that forbid stopping, standing, or parking close to the edge of the road because there are numerous other instances in which doing so is prohibited that are not covered by this video. Parking illegally can result in hefty fines for the vehicle's registered owner. You can anticipate being held financially liable if your car's improper parking causes someone to get hurt or causes property damage. Where is it forbidden to stop? Under no circumstances may drivers stop, stand, or park whenever there is a crosswalk, sidewalk, or other area where pedestrians have the right of way. In the bicycle-only lane. Crossing a street intersection. At railroad crossings along the railroads. On an overpass or bridge. The tunnel. On each side of the road, close to excavations or impediments. There might not be any road signs indicating that stopping is prohibited because all drivers are expected to be aware of these regulations. Where is it forbidden to stand? Parking and standing are generally not permitted in the locations and circumstances specified below. Stopping is normally permissible but standing or parking are not allowed. Obstructing or in front of a driveway or alley. 15 feet or less from intersections with unidentified crosswalks. 20 feet or less from any crosswalk. 30 feet or less from a stop sign, flashing traffic light, or other visible signal. 50 feet or less from a railroad crossing. 15 feet or less from a fire hydrant. Within 75 feet on the opposite side of the roadway from a fire station driveway, or within 20 feet of one on the same side. When a police officer is present, within 500 feet of the scene of a collision. Blocking a building's fire escape or emergency exit. In an area where standing and parking are allowed only during specific hours of the day, outside of the allowed hours. In addition to a parking meter that has run out of money. In front of the entrance to a theater. Blocking a rural mailbox's entrance. The distances stated below may vary slightly from region to region within the United States, so keep that in mind. For information on standing limits in your state, consult your driver's manual. Double parking is prohibited. The act of standing, stopping, or parking between an automobile that has previously been parked along the side of the road and the main traffic lanes is known as double parking. Double parking is risky because it would result in your car taking up space on the road that is meant for moving vehicles. Additionally, if you have parked illegally close to another car, you may completely or partially block it in. Parking in two places at once is against the law and is fined. Misuse of places for the disabled. For drivers with disabilities, parking places marked in blue or with wheelchair insignia are designated. A disability parking space can only be used by people who have a valid disabled parking permit and are showing it in their parked car. Keep in mind that for a vehicle to lawfully park in a handicapped place, the person listed on the permit must be utilizing it. If you don't have a permit, don't park in a disability parking space. In order to make wheelchair access easier, disabled parking spaces frequently have more space between them than regular parking places. All vehicles are prohibited from entering these striped areas. Not having designated parking places. If there is a dedicated parking space nearby, drivers should always use it to park or stop their car. If extraordinary circumstances force you to stop when there are no designated parking places available, for example, on a motorway or limited access freeway, observe these guidelines. Make sure others can see your car. At the very least 200 feet in both directions, it must be visible to oncoming traffic. Put your car in a position that will allow other vehicles to pass safely. To call attention to your parked car, turn on your danger lights and/or parking lights. Safely parking on a hill. When parking on a hill or slope, It is your duty to make sure your car is securely fastened. Even on extremely little inclines, parked cars have the potential to roll away and cause catastrophic tragedies. Your car's parking brake is intended to prevent rolling, albeit they are not always successful. There is a higher likelihood that your parking brake won't function if the gradient is steep. When parking on a hill, you should also engage the parking brake and place your front wheels such that, in the event that your car starts to roll, it will point toward the curb, or away from oncoming traffic. 1. If you are parking uphill or facing downhill on a road without a curb, turn your wheels in the direction of the roadside. 2. Turn your wheels away from the roadside when parking uphill on a route with a curb. You will be held financially responsible for any interruption, property damage, injury, or loss of life caused if you do not take all reasonable precautions to safely secure your vehicle on a hill.